You know that you, in your physical body, are extensions of broader source energy. Do you realize that that broader non-physical part of you, that source within you, is always flowing to you and through you, that you cannot separate yourself from it? Do you realize that that broader non-physical part of you plays a larger role in what happens all day, every day, than most of you know? Because the continuum of that which is you is profound. You are source energy in a physical body. Many of you don't realize that. Often you want to say, well, if that's true, then why aren't I doing better? If I'm source energy in physical form, then why aren't the angels singing for me more? And we want you to know that at all times, the well-being that really is you, that surrounds you, that permeates everything in all atmospheres, both physical and non-physical, that well-being is always flowing to you and through you. And to the degree you allow it, you see the evidence of it in your experience. Often, as you are looking at the details of what's unfolding in your life experience, it feels to you that there must be some outside forces or circumstances. There must be some details that are keeping you from the well-being that we are expressing is yours. Because when the well-being isn't flowing, when the money isn't flowing into your experience, or something is hurting in your body, or someone has broken your heart, or something that you want just doesn't seem to come, we know that sometimes it feels to you, because you want it so much to be otherwise, it feels to you that there must be something other than you that is preventing the well-being from flowing. But we want you to understand that there is never anything other than you that is preventing the well-being from flowing. We acknowledge many times you were born into an environment where well-being wasn't flowing. Your parents were having a hard time, or the environment into which you were born was in upheaval. And so as you, even from your infancy, began observing the details of the environment that surrounded you, we acknowledge that it was not hard for you, by virtue of what you were observing, to train your vibration into one of resistance of the well-being that would have been there if you were not trained into resistance. And many of you say, that's what we're talking about. Why would a wee small infant be born into an environment where they could, by virtue of the environment that surrounds them, be trained into a resistant vibration? How could a baby learn a vibration that prevents well-being from flowing? And we say, because that baby that looks like a wee small unknowing infant is really a genius source energy deliberate creator who has come forth into this physical experience not worrying about contrast and not even wanting to avoid it, but embracing contrast, understanding that from the contrast is always born clarity of improvement. And so often, the greatest masters of your physical environment are born into situations where contrast abounds. Things they don't want all around them, things they do want all around them. But let's say you were one, or you know someone who was born into a very strong environment of contrast. And we want to say to you, as you were born into that strong environment of contrast, the contrast served not only you, not only providing expansion for you, which you can beneficially live while still here in this physical body, but that contrast is serving mass consciousness, and it is certainly serving the all that isness that is really you and all of us. So this source energy you remains non-physically focused. And a part of you comes forth into this physical body, and the contrast helps you to know what you don't want, which causes you to know what you do want. Sometimes you really know what you don't want, so you really know what you do want. Sometimes you sort of know what you don't want, so you sort of know what you do want. But the contrast is always causing a focusing of vibration. Now, whether you speak out loud, whether you even put into words what it is you now know that you want from the contrast that you've lived, you are still emanating the vibrational signal of it. Many of you say, oh, vibrational signal. It doesn't mean anything to me, a vibrational signal. We say it means everything to you because you live in a vibrational universe that is managed by law of attraction responding to the vibrations that abound and managing them and sorting them and bringing vibrations that are like together. And so it is important for you to acknowledge that you are vibrational beings constantly emanating vibrational signals of desire. And here is something really important that you may have forgotten. When from your human form you offer a vibration of what you want because you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want, you cannot contemplate any subject without equal components of wanted and unwanted appearing vibrationally in your experience. If you don't have enough money, to the degree that you don't have enough money, you ask for the equal proportion of money to the degree of the money you don't have. Do you get that? If you're a little sick, you ask to be a little well. If you're a lot sick, you ask to be a lot well. In other words, if you are focused in your physical experience, the proportion of what you don't want is represented by a vibrational equivalent of what you do want. Can you sort of kind of get that? Whether you speak it or not, it is emanating from you. And when that happens, the non-physical source energy part of you gives undivided attention to that newly added, amended version of request or desire that you have set forth. And you, from your non-physical vantage point, have expanded to that new place just now. Now, when that happens, that means that the vibration of the larger part of you, and oh, it is the larger part of you, the eternal non-physical part of you, the vibration of the larger part of you has changed. So good, because of the contrast you just lived. And if you, who just lived the contrast, could join the larger part of you in the vibration of what you've asked for, you would have an exhilarating moment now. But you often don't do that. Often, instead of knowing what you don't want, which causes you to know what you do want, instead of turning your attention to what you do want, you continue to beat the drum of what you don't want, and that's not a bad thing, really. It's just if you keep it up, it doesn't serve you. In other words, what just happened is life caused you to expand and you didn't go. Life caused you to become more, but you're still justifying why you want more, justifying why you deserve more, lamenting the fact that you aren't more, feeling bad about not getting what you want, complaining about who's getting it while you're not, adding emphasis to how bad it is over here without what it is you want, complaining about being over here, explaining how long you've been over here, noticing how many other people are over here, forming clubs about being over here when you want to be over there. Online chat groups, we're over here, we're over here, we're over here, we're over here, we're over here. And those guys over there, surely they did something wrong. They must be cheating. They must be dealing drugs. They must have been born into it. Certainly they don't deserve it any more than me, and I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it, I'm not getting it. Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? So as you stand, not meaning to, in the vibration that caused you to do the asking, but now you're not asking from the vibration of having, you're asking from the vibration of not having. You see, now that's normal, isn't it? When you don't have something that you want, from that place of not having it, you're going to ask for it. But can you feel when you are wadded up in that vibration of I don't have something I need, I don't have something I need, I don't have something I need, I want it, where is it, I want it, where is it? Can you feel how that vibration is opposite of the vibration of I have something that I want? The source within you, in the moment that you ask, oh, this is the part we so want you to hear, because this is the part that explains every emotion you ever feel or every emotion that anybody ever feels. When the source within you joins the vibration of your request and you don't, you feel the discord. Now, let's explain this in a way you can really hear it. If you're not asking for anything beyond what you have, so you're not sending the source within you to new vibrational places on your behalf, then you could stand where you are and not feel any discord. The tricky thing about that is the entire universe is set up to cause you to expand. You can't stand still. In every moment, no matter where you stand, there is contrast that is causing you to expand. And if you don't go with the expansion, then you feel the resistance of being pulled apart. So, when you feel elation, it means you expanded, and in this moment of thought, you went with the expansion. When you feel love, it means you've expanded, and in this moment of thought, you have gone with the thought of love. When you feel interest, when you feel excited, when you feel passion, when you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, that means you expanded, and in this moment, you're not doing that thing you often do that is keeping you from going and being with who you really are. But if in any moment you feel frustration or anger or fear, if you feel powerless, if you feel those negative emotions that feel so awful to you, all that it means is that in this moment, you've got something going on in your mind. You're probably talking about it. You're probably blogging about it. You've got something going on in your mind where you are not in anywhere near the vicinity of who you really are. And the negative emotion that you feel is your indication of separation. Now, separation is too strong of word, but we want to get your attention with it. When you feel negative emotion, it simply means you're not keeping up with you. Now, there's some important things to know about that. You see, if life wasn't causing you to expand, there would be nothing to keep up with. And you say, yes, exactly my point. If contrast were not abounding, then I wouldn't expand. And if I didn't expand, then I wouldn't have to go. I could just sit on my stump. And we say, no chance, because you cannot cease to be standing in the middle of a buffet that is causing you to constantly expand. We are all eternally focused beings, which means you are selfishly focused. We all are. And we cannot help at all levels of our being, even cellular levels, to continue to ask for the improvement, ask for the improvement, ask for the improvement. And you see, it's sort of tricky, and we see why you might complain, but it goes this way. If it weren't for the contrast, you couldn't ask for the improvement. But the very contrast that is responsible for the improvement is the contrast that you use as your excuse not to go. Isn't that interesting? It's like you've got a friend, we use that word loosely. You have a friend who is harassing you into expansion. Damn friend. This friend has been giving you grief for a long time, and you can't shake loose of this friend because you talk about this friend so much, law of attraction just keeps that friend right in your space. And if you are able to remove yourself from the vicinity of that friend by moving across the world, another one takes that friend's place almost immediately. Because when you have something active in your vibration, law of attraction just brings it on over and over again. So you have a friend who is harassing you into expansion because that friend doesn't know what you know. That friend doesn't know that he's supposed to do everything possible to make you feel better. That friend is following the nature of his true selfish self, and he is doing everything to make himself feel better. So here's this friend harassing you into expansion and doing it well, because sort of like a thorn in your side, this friend has been there for a long time, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, has the larger part of you expanded because of the consternation of this relationship. You've expanded and expanded and expanded. So we could say accurately, this friend who you are not very happy with is responsible for a huge part of your vibrational expansion. The source within you has benefited dramatically because of this uncomfortable relationship. So this friend is responsible for your expansion, but now here's the interesting part. You, if you're like most people, are now using this friend and this contrasting experience as your excuse now not to keep up with the expansion that this friend caused you to have. That's why you're extra, extra, extra mad at this friend. You're tied together vibrationally. In other words, this friend is a co-conspirator in your expansion, but you're using the details of this relationship as your reason not to expand, and that's why you can't get your mind off this rascal. That's why everything seems to be that person's fault. And haven't you noticed that when you got that sort of thing going on, and almost everybody does to some degree, that For a while it's that person, and then 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 in other words, it seems like there's always something that you're using as your current excuse to not let yourself feel good. It's like, if I could just wrestle this one last rascal to the ground and kill him, then in the absence of rascaldom, I would then feel good. And we say, you can't rid the world of things that bother you. You've got to rid your vibration of things that bother you.